Welcome to week 5 in Math 225, Intro to Data Science. This chapter 8, is one of those workflow sections. And today we're going to look at projects. So as you know, our author periodically puts together these workflow sections just to remind you of some of the important pieces of RStudio and R. The authors are encouraging now is that we save our project that we're working on just about every day. As we're done working on one project, don't just bring in files from another project, end that project and bring up another one. You'll be very happy that you do that, because every time you exit out of a project, it makes you save your work. And so if they need to bring up a function or they don't know quite the code, they've got these files that they can reference to see the code examples. And so you're going to want to create these things. And in order to create these things and save them, you have to, save your projects. You'll notice that I've got lots of stuff up here, and some of these files up here have not been saved. And so what I'm going to do is just to show you at any point, let's just quit this project and let's start a new one and bring in the files that we need. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to come down and quit the session, and it's going to say, look at all these things that you haven't saved. We're going to save them all. When you start RStudio again, it's going to come back, but see, it has saved all of your files. Now, what you can do, and what I would recommend, is just, get rid of all this stuff, and just to make sure that you have everything that you want to work on, and bring in only the things that you're going to use in this project. As you see, all we have here is the console. I'm going to start a new project, and you might want to call this one week 5, and this could be your week 5 project. We create it, and at the end of this is your week 5 project. Everything you do in here, you can save it at the end, and everything will go into that project folder. I'm going to open a file. You all had these files that you could have downloaded from the e-learning site, and I'm going to bring in the chapter 8 code. All right, so now we only have this one file in here. Remember to come up here and do the soft wrap long lines, and so that you can see all the code. The difference is that if you don't have the soft wrap lines, then this line of code will run off forever. And so turn on the wrap long lines, and you'll be able to read all of this file just like you're reading the textbook. Now, most of the stuff in the console you will lose. And so if you're looking for stuff in the console and you continue to print things in the console, then you'll eventually will lose that. That's not saved at all. The scripts and the markdown files, those are all saved. So you want to make sure that you save those when you close out your project. Now, you'll have to identify where your files live, where they exist, what directories. As you're creating all the files, you might want to store them in meaningful file names. For example, on my hard drive, I have things arranged by week. So week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. And inside each one of those weeks, you have all these files that we're creating week by week. So if you want to know what your working directory is, you can give this command, get WD. That means your working directory. And you can see down here in the console is where that directory will be. So when I do this, you'll see that this is going to, the console displays is exactly what my path is here. And yours would be if it's a Mac, users / Jim / and then everybody has the document. So if you do users and then, whatever it is that you call your main directory, usually you have a users and then you have various users. If it's only you, it might be your first name. And then every Mac has this folder called the document. And so inside my documents, we have our Math 225, the name of this course, and then there's the file week 5. You can also set your working directory. If I wanted to set my working directory here, I could just say users and then Jim, and I could get rid of the rest of this. And if I run that, you can see here, it sets the working directory to Jim's main directory. And then up here, you see it's just the ~/. If I added onto this another folder like documents, then it would say I'm in documents, and it would set my username that way. If I wanted to go in further and say Math 225, then you'll see that it sets the working directory at 225, and then it displays the path right here. The biggest thing you need to know in terms of the two different main operating systems, if you're working on Windows versus Mac and Linux uses just the forward slashes, but Windows uses the backslashes. So you might have to to adjust the commands that I'm giving if you have a PC to use the backslash instead of the slash in your path names. But if you want to point to it on your machine, that's how to do it. Here's the big information for the day, that you want to keep all of your files of a certain project together. And it's probably a good idea not to mix files from two different projects. So for our class, you might want to create a project for week 1, a project for week 2, a project for week 3, and so on, just to keep them all together. You keep all of your related files in that project together, and every time you quit, you create a new project, and you keep all those files together. It's a good way to keep you organized. So in summary for these projects, save your project after every session. More projects better than fewer projects. Every time you save a project, it keeps all of the associated files together, and it gives you an opportunity to go back and review those files. It keeps all your files there, keeps all your scripts there. It saves the outputs, it's all the plot and the clean data there. So if you forget to write a file at the end with all your clean data, you can go back, start that project, and write the clean file. And they recommend to use only relative paths and not absolute paths. Everything is one place and separated from the other things that you're learning.